Nicknames, gotta love them, nicknames. Such as our couch potato in chief. And you thought I was going to talk about the Dems. No, come on, let me have my fun with Donald J. Trump first. Here we are, moving in to his latest imaginary crisis since the border wall crisis fizzled. He had to come up with a new one, so now we're going to have another historic summit with North Korea. And he's going to get over to Hanoi next week and sit down with Kim Pong Pong Pong, which the Chinese love to call him, which means Kim Triple Fat. So yes, we're going to have the couch potato in chief and Kim Triple Fat sitting down together to have their imaginary talk about all those nuclear missiles that Kim Pong 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 does not have, really, or won't have, or something. Yes, and how is Donald J. Trump preparing for this imaginary summit, this historic, unprecedented second imaginary summit with Kim Pong Pong Pong? Is he studying charts and tables and reading maps and intelligence? No, he's got the White House gerbils running furiously in their cages about some other question entirely. Nicknames, yes. He's eagerly scanning the news every day for the 2020 Dem challengers, and he's got the gerbils of the White House cooking up nicknames for all those candidates. And how about those candidates? I thought that maybe I would handicap them, help them out a little bit. Donald J. Trump, he's not too good at homework. So, yeah, let's start with the guys, right? I know you're the women, and here I am, starting with the men, typical. No, hold on, you'll see. So, what do these hardy souls have in common? Mitch Landrieu, Eric Garcetti, John Hickenlooper, Mike Bennett. You've never heard of them? I know, so much for those candidates. Yes. How about Cory Booker? I'm sure you've heard of him, yes. Well, you know, he is a bit of a showboat and he loves the camera, but he never seems to get anything done. Kind of like AOC, you know, she looks so good on camera. I love watching her dance. But what does she actually do? I don't know. Nothing yet. Is she actually running for president? I wonder if she's read the Constitution and has figured out she's too young. Anyway, back to Cory. Yes. Well, he's a vegan, and hey, I'm a slut for tofu myself, but I don't see that playing out too well in the Midwest. They love growing soybeans and they're pissed off at Trump that they can't sell them to China anymore. But eat tofu? No, real men eat beef, and they don't give a damn about the carbon footprint either. Yes, so I think Cory's campaign is going whoop with the others. No, we need a real candidate. How about a woman? Yes, let's choose the first candidate I chose for 2020. 3 years ago, I thought that Kirsten Gillibrand would be the new beacon. And 3 years later, I'm wondering, what has she done these 3 years? Well, she got Al Franken fired, which pissed off a lot of Democrats, and so I'm presuming that her polling is telling her that nobody really knows about her, and what they do know they don't like. So she's rebranding herself. Yes, she is making herself into the mom-in-chief. In fact, she even baked a cookie for a reporter just to prove that she can, and she's buying an RV to tour Iowa soon, and she's going to fearlessly throw her kids in front of her as human shields to, you know, stage props to prove to the whole world that she is a nice person after all. And you know what? That kind of makes me feel good. I'm glad to know that, you know, when Kim Jong-un finally gets around to firing at us, or nature throws up its latest superbug because, hey, we handled the last two so very well, I'm really glad to know that the next president will be able to pack her kids lunch every day. Aren't you? Yes, Mom-in-Chief. Who else can we talk about? How about Bernie, everybody's favorite zombie candidate who just never quite goes away, does he? Just keeps coming back, and he raised all that money, which means we get a replay of 2016, which means he will, you know, whip up his supporters to raise all that cash and get their votes, but nobody else's, which means he won't have enough votes, which means he'll show up at the convention, splitting the ticket, sitting there like a curmudgeon, forcing the candidate to go on bent knee to him, seeking his endorsement and making that candidate, the nominee, look weak going into the general and handing the election in a walk to Donald J. Trump. Gotta love zombie candidates. Thank you, Bernie. And then who else do we have splitting the ticket? Oh, Howie Schultz, a coffee man, right. I think you're probably going to think that I'm going to give him a nickname, too, of coffee man. No, did you know that the original Starbucks logo had boobs on it? And when he became, captain of that ship, he cut off the boobs. And that's the logo we have now. So what is it? Does he not like women's boobs? Does he not like women? Does he not like women to enjoy their complete, fullest sexuality? I do. Where was I? Yes, right. Oh, yes, my nickname for Howie. No boobs, Howie. Yes, he's going to fearlessly split the ticket right along with Bernie, ripping it, renting into tatters, handing the election in a walk to Donald J. Trump because he's just another bored billionaire. Thanks, Bernie. Thanks, no boobs, Howie. Right. Who else do we have? We have Amy Klobuchar. Right. The Miss Sort of Nice. Not so nice. Sort of like Two-Face from that character from the comic book series, right? The way she turned out to be a serial assaulter, throwing binders and staplers at her staff's head. Yeah, that's a good way to run the White House. No, I don't see her candidacy going very far. And who else am I thinking? AOC keeps popping into my head. How old is she anyway? Do you think she's running? I think she's running. Do you think her supporters know that she's too young to run? Probably not. Maybe they should read the Constitution. Still, hey, she looks great on camera. There's some other eye candy that I'm forgetting. Who is it? Oh, Liz Warren. Yeah, not exactly eye candy. In fact, I would have to call her graceless, right? Graceless. I know you think I'm going to do the Indian thing, but no, she trips herself up over that DNA test often enough and can't seem to quite put that story away. So this progressive, I think, is probably going to keep going ahead Liz style and barn burning as she goes because she's so fierce, which is really cool, isn't it? But I see her as more of like a Secretary of State, or not even Veep, because it's like trying to have two peacocks in the same bush. Just doesn't work. Right. No, I don't see her. But definitely graceless. She's got to get it together. Yeah, what is the eye candy? Oh, it sounds suspiciously like a candy bar. Beto, yes, and I bet you Beto will be a candy bar within 6 months. Yeah, I see him as more Veep material, don't you? Just kind of, casually strolling around the country, strumming his guitar, talking about someday, never really quite getting anywhere. So who do we have left? Well, we've got slow Joe Biden, who never seems to get it together either. He loves the camera time. He keeps talking about running, but he never really quite presses the button and keeps talking about how he's the mainstream candidate with all those foreign policy credentials that nobody else has. Meanwhile, Kirsten Gillibrand is like swooping in on the inside curve, taking the mainstream banner right out of his hands and he doesn't realize it. And then, so that leaves us with the lioness. Yes, the lioness. Now, I know you think that I'm a perfect slut for Kamala Harris because you probably see my comics about her. And God knows she's hot. I wouldn't mind being her slut. But here's the thing. She is so hot and she is so fierce and so eminently capable. I honestly believe that in a couple weeks we're going to read that she is banging one of her interns and that her candidacy will go the way of Amy Klobuchar's. If not, it should be quite a battle of titans, one that'll make Donald J. Trump's balls shrink to the size of pistachio nuts. Yes, because if Nancy Pelosi is the tigress, as in don't mess with the tigress, then Kamala Harris is definitely the lioness. Don't mess with the lioness, because she was the AG for the world's 7th largest economy, right? California. It's the same size as India in terms of economy. So you must have had been a bitch on wheels to run that states. And I look forward to the fight between them. But we have to remember, she's black and she's a woman, and that's going to give every excuse for all of his slime ball neo-Nazis crawl out under their rocks at last and have something to cheer for. Because after all, what has Donald J. Trump done for them? He's raised their taxes, but refunds are 15% down over last year, which is another way of saying this. Your taxes are 15% higher. Their taxes are 15% higher. That's what that red hat gives them. Yes, so he's going to be really happy if Kamala gets the nomination. A battle of titans indeed. You heard it here first. Jeff does the dance.